what's it like? You know, you went from a private company to now a public company, and what are the differences? Well, the differences really vary depending on how you were running your company previously. Now, previously I had a whole range of different investors. There was, you know, a number of high net worth individuals, but there were also a couple of funds that were invested inside of Zoom2U. And so on a quarterly basis, we would always run our accounts, we would provide investors with an update, and we would write an investor update to each of our investors. And so that's fairly similar to what it's like running an ASX listed company, but with a few changes. When you're running an ASX company, you have to provide an update to the market. And in our instance, we need to do that every quarter. And so there's a particular process you need to go through in making sure that you're actually providing, you know, accurate information. You've gone through an audited process to actually give those updates to the market. So you've got these tight timeframes and when these things have to be done. So there's a fair amount of regulatory, you know, mandatory reporting that you need to provide to the market. And you need to make sure that you've got the right team around you to be able to do that. So having really good accountants and auditors, but also legal people, but also internally having a really good and strong CFO is really, really important. I think if I didn't have a really strong CFO, I would find it, you know, quite a daunting process and a lot of work for me to do. But having the right team around me has meant that I can actually continue focusing on growing the business and be really focused on, you know, how do we take this business to the next level, and spending time with product or customers and not necessarily being caught up in the day-to-day of making sure that we're reporting correctly. That's really being able to have the right team around you to allow you to do that. So that's probably the main thing around being a public company. I guess there's a few other things. You've got a share price now, actively traded. You know, I don't really take much notice to that. I don't really look at it on a daily basis. It goes up and down. I just keep focused on the business. And I think as the entrepreneur and as the CEO of the company, you just want to make sure that you're focused on building this business as big and as successful as you possibly can. And the share price will follow. Sometimes it goes up and sometimes it goes down. The interesting thing is that, you know, it goes up and down based on nothing that's actually happening inside of the business. Sometimes it is, but often it's just moving up and down by different people buying and selling shares at different time periods. And seeing this as someone sitting inside the business has really changed my perspective on investing. Sometimes you might buy a stock because it's, you know, going up, or because it's or you might sell it because it's going down. And, you know, I think this is, you know, very different to how I would trade now, seeing what happens inside of running the Zoom2U business. So seeing a share price move up and down is one thing. You know, those are probably the two big things that I'm reporting. You've also got a disclosure requirement. And so the one thing, you know, if anything material happens inside of your business, you need to make sure that you disclose this to the market, and so the market is aware of what's happening. Running a private company, and you need to be aware of what your disclosure requirements actually is. And the final thing that you know, may change, didn't change substantially because we had a board previously, but you need to have a board of directors, and you really need to make sure you've got a well-balanced board. That's a board that has people that are, you know, different genders, but also different backgrounds and different experiences, so they can really help advise you as the business is growing. And what I found really valuable is, you know, you've got a board, you meet on a regular basis, they can provide, you know, really great feedback on where the business is tracking and making sure that you're compliant from an ASX point of view, but also, you know, what can they do to actually help this business get to the next stage? Can they give you an introduction to another business that's going to allow you to, you know, use your services or buy your product? And you really want to see how you can leverage the experience and the contacts that your board has to take your business to the next level. And so I think that's, you know, making sure you have the right people on your board is super, super important.